We're live. Welcome, viewers, to the Love of Business podcast. I'm your co-host, Davin Sundvick, and joined with me is our other co-host, Edgar Rodriguez, and our guest today, who we're going to be interviewing, Greg Drake from Quantum Advisory Group. So, Edgar, go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you do, and then we'll have Greg go. I'll introduce myself last, and then we'll get right into some questions that we got for Greg.
Yeah, so my name's Edgar Rodriguez. I'm also the co-host for the Love of Business podcast with Davin Sundvick. And what I do in the community, there's a few different plates that I spin. Main one that brings home the bacon is going to be being a business coach, certified business coach with Action Coach. And I'm also involved with Bunker Labs as an ambassador, continuing to serve my community.
Cool. Rock on. Greg.
My name is Greg Drake. I am the president of Quantum Advisory Group. We are benefit advisors to help small business owners protect their businesses and their families, as well as Medicare and individual health insurance, helping people put together strategies that will put them in a good situation if they have to use their insurance.
Rock on. Thank you, Greg. And again, my name is Davin Sundvick. For those of you who don't know and you want to know a little bit more about your co-hosts here, I'm a leader in the real estate industry. So I help buyers and sellers of real estate make their transactions go easier. But I also help real estate professionals grow and build their careers. So without any further ado, Edgar, I know you've got some awesome questions lined up for Greg. What's your first one?
Yeah. So Greg, thank you for being on the Love of Business podcast. We know time is one of those things you cannot get back. So we do want to appreciate you taking the time. And I wanted to start off with, tell us a little bit about your business and how long have you been doing it?
Great to be here. Thank you for the question. We've been doing this as Quantum Advice Group since 2019. My wife has been doing insurance since 2005, and I got into it in 2014 going forward. What we do, basically, we just help. When I figured out health insurance, or insurance period, for the most part, is that it's a strategy. And we want to help business owners explore other options in these days and times where having good employees, you want to keep them. But then attracting the right employees, offering a benefits package that's right, and for the business owner not to feel stressed about it. We help them come up with the strategy that will work in his favor as well as the people they're bringing on, and hopefully that'll be a great marriage together. And then helping senior citizens understand health insurance as far as Medicare, because that can be tricky. There are a lot of questions when they go into retirement, and we just educate them on all their options and finding the best plan that will suit their needs and their budget, as well as individual as well. So it means life, health, disability, dental, vision. Things of that nature that's out there in insurance. We just don't do home and auto and commercial, but everything else, we can pretty much put a strategy together to help you.
Nice. Yeah, the education's super important when it comes to insurance. So, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I know, Greg, when we first met, I was in the financial services industry myself. And it's one of those careers and businesses, right, that is very rewarding because at the end of the day, you're protecting someone's legacy. And what they're building. So, I want to commend you for that. One of the questions that I like to ask, what's been the biggest learning curve since you started the business in your industry?
The learning curve is that you're never going to know everything. And then when things are changing, having to keep up with everything, because you want to make sure that you're giving your clients the best service. And if you're not up to date, they could be missing out. And so there's so many different carriers here in Las Vegas, just alone. We're in about 27 states. Is having to understand what the industry, where it's going, how it's changing, and how to relate that to our clients before open enrollment. So waiting to the last minute, because things may have changed throughout the year, and you need to know about it. So just having to stay up on all the different products, the benefits changes, and making sure people understand what we're talking about. Some people can tell you they understand when they really don't, and just making sure we go slow enough in the education process is huge. But it's just, you always got to stay up to date on what's in the industry and what's changing, what's coming, so that we can relay that in a timely fashion to our clients.
Yeah, I think that's very important, right? It's one of those industries where you have to follow rules, regulations, and when you're looking out for your clients and their best possible interests, sometimes the products do shift, and the vehicle that you have them in might not be the one that, because of how things change or things are evolving. So definitely understand that it is a big learning curve, and that you're always trying to look out for the clients.
Absolutely.
Best interest. Yeah. So trust me. And I think that goes across the board for any industry, right? Or any business. You always got to know, like with COVID and how that impacted a lot of different businesses, and how we got to constantly evolve and change. And that's how we grow. So, congratulations on continuing to serve and help out in the community and protect the clients. But Greg, what do you feel has been the hardest part about being an entrepreneur?
The daily grind, having a game plan every single day, making sure that you're out there talking to people, listening. The listening has been my biggest hurdle because I want to tell people everything that I know, and most times, when I first got into it, I wasn't listening clearly. I was wanting to always tell people stuff, and sometimes it wasn't information that they needed to know. But listening 80%, 90%, and talking less, so I can make sure that I hear correctly, ask questions. But the daily grind and knowing how to network, learning from people like yourself, how to ask particular questions, and just listen. Because the public want to know that they're being listened to. So when they want something, I can deliver what they're looking for or close to it.
Yeah. Very interesting point. I think really good salespeople, because we're all in sales, but really good salespeople listen to solve for a solution or solve for a problem, right? And it's actively listening, which is why we were given 2 ears and 1 mouth, right?
Absolutely.
And if we know how to use it in that manner, then that just makes us better active listeners and understanding what our clients need. I know, Davin, you were about to say something, so go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like, when you get into a business, it's usually because you're passionate about how it can help people, right? Like at the end of the day, right? Like you go into business because there's a demand for a product, but you have so many answers to questions that are relevant to some people and are completely irrelevant to others. And they're getting all this, they're getting all this feedback because we live in the 21st century, right? People can have access to a lot of the information we as salespeople have access to now, but they're overwhelmed by it, right? So oftentimes they literally just need somebody to listen to them and clear it up, instead of being a part of that overwhelming information that they're getting on the day-to-day basis. So amen to that one.
One thing I've learned, Edgar, when I met with you the first couple times that me and you met, is how to ask questions, because sometimes people don't know what they really want. And when they tell you, and they give you an answer, one thing you asked me one time, and I looked at you, you gave me the straight look. You said, "Why?" And it makes you think. Well, how did you come up with that number? Why do you need that? And then have them to explain, because sometimes they've heard it from their Uncle Lou and their Aunt Sally down the street, or their neighbor who has a particular product and they want it, they think that they can get it. But listening has been something I'm having to do a lot more and practice daily. And I learned from Davin, when me and him sat down with my daughter, is how to listen and then talk and try to guide based on the answers that you give me and ask good questions.
Yeah, 100%. I think our most powerful question we can ask is why. Simon Sinek has a good book, Start With Why, and that really leads to understanding the way your clients think, understanding their thought process. And then our job is just to educate, to help them understand, us as being the subject matter expert, you being the subject matter expert in insurance and healthcare, right? You want to make sure that they have the best product that fits them. It's not a cookie cutter product. Everybody has a different type of solution they're trying to solve for, but by understanding and asking those questions and actively listening, you can help educate and guide them towards the right product, so you're not overselling or underselling. Last thing you want to do, or anybody wants to do, is put a customer in a situation that could financially devastate that legacy.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. That's so true.
Yeah. So what, now that we talked about the hardest part about being an entrepreneur, what's your favorite part about being an entrepreneur?
talking to people. I used to be an introvert because I was in law enforcement in that industry, and I was mostly just watching, talking, not really engaging people. But the best part is talking to people, getting them to laugh. I like to have a good conversation. So meeting, when going out and looking for new business, the daily grind, or on the phones, or doing virtual meetings, it's just talking to people. It's getting to know them. And when you get to know people before trying to do your sales pitch, sometimes you get to know them, that wall comes down quickly, and now you can have a great conversation. That's the best part of what I do is we're just having just talking. I want to know about them. I want to tell them a little bit about myself, and then let them ask me questions, and that's great. That's fun, especially when it's person. Kneecap, they call it kneecap to kneecap. What do you like to do?
Yeah, I think this is where we all have that commonality, right? Is we're in the business of relationships. I know the way Davin and I met was through an event where we were both out networking, and I just happened to be one of those events where they were highlighting veterans and military spouses. And something that intrigued me with Davin is that he's extremely smart. He asked really quality questions, which drew me in. And that's what, when you talk about the daily grind, it's getting to know people and asking quality questions is what helps elevate you, right? And being genuinely interested in, hey, how can I help you? How can I add value to you? And what is it that you're looking to accomplish, right? And being that puzzle piece now in the network, in understanding, okay, how can I help this person? That's what leads, because it doesn't matter what type of hat you're wearing, right? If you think about some people 5 years ago, they're probably not in the same industry they are today. But people don't buy their product, they buy them. And if you take the time to build a relationship with them, that's what leads to the bottom line in any industry, which is why I really, really enjoy this podcast, is because this is what it all leads to. And it comes back to always relationships. And that's a really, really fun piece.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's funny, Edgar, when you bring up like the because we all met at networking events, right, at the end of the day. And it's funny how you bring it up, like the questions that I asked, right? Because I asked those questions to you not knowing that you and I were going to start a podcast together. Like there's so many people you meet in a night, right? And you got to make it fun, because you don't want to be boring, right? But you want to try to stand out. But you never know, like if you just give up and you're like, okay, I'm just going to start asking the boring questions everybody else is asking, you might be that like one connection away from like somebody who would have like really impacted your business or your life, and like you just, So anyway, it's kind of funny how you can absolutely use really cool questions to make a difference on that one person that you're going to meet, So.
Yeah, it's the same way, Greg and I connected is the same way, right? Which is all through networking. And I took away from him his quality of questions too. And it's those type of like-minded people that we want to surround ourselves with.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing I learned from everybody, especially with Edgar is very knowledgeable, and things I was talking to him in his office, you want to meet quality people. You just don't want to meet everybody.
Yeah,
because he said at the beginning of the podcast is that time is something that you don't, once you spend it, you don't get it back. So you want to meet the right people when you're networking. Be friendly, but find a quality person who you really want to get to know, and make it about them. Asking particular questions about them, and then getting that one-on-one, sitting down and to really dig down and say, hey, I want to help you, but tell me a little bit about your situation. Either if it's a business owner, if a senior citizen looking to get into Medicare, if it's an individual looking to protect him or her or their families, they have a story to tell. And learning how to meet those quality people and they come across authentic. And that's why I love to meet people who can teach me something, and hopefully I can let them know a little bit something that they may not have known before. And Who Not How is a great book, and The Go-Giver is an excellent one, because you're people.
The Go-Giver is a good one, and it kind of sums up a lot of what you were just talking about, of like just being that quality person that's going to attract quality people around them. And then all you
Yes.
have to do from there is put yourself out there and be yourself, right? Because at that point, there will be people that are not attracted to quality people and don't want to be around you. And that's fine, because all you're going to do is you're going to attract quality people because that's what you're trying to become and that's who you are, right? So,
Right.
yeah, good stuff there.
So Greg, what advice would you give 20-year-old Greg today that's just getting into business?
Go in. If you're passionate about it, go into it. Full throttle and get to know people. Talk less, listen more, and just always be on the lookout for people who you can help. Be a giver. Be a giver, and be willing to receive people when they appreciate what you've done for them, but to grind it out every day. Enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, don't waste your time doing it. And I wasted a lot of years doing things I didn't enjoy, I didn't like. And now I found something that I love. I would do it regardless, because people want to be helped. I just want to help. That's part of my Christian faith and my walk, is that I want to help. How can I help? And then just go for it. Don't be afraid of people, because they just want to talk.
They don't bite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I know you in the military as well. And I think our mindset, and same with business owners, is where I always feel that commonality is we answered the bell, right? Even in becoming a business owner, not everybody can do that, right? Not everybody can walk away from a 9-to-5 and that safety net to say, hey, I'm going to do this for myself, and I'm going to help the community with what I'm doing, right? I'm going to make a difference. I want to make an impact. Same reason why we serve the country, right? Is we want to make a difference. We want to make an impact. And that's what I really, really enjoy about talking with business owners and also veterans, is we have that same type of mindset. Which leads to the question is, how do you push through your biggest business doubts?
I read a quote somewhere where he said, guy asked a question. He says, why don't you do it? He said, I'm scared. He said, okay, do it scared. You just do it. Just go for it. Just do it scared. People don't know. People don't know what you know, so they can't sit and say you're not doing it correctly. They just don't know. They want you to be authentic when you're talking to them. And 20 years ago, I was scared to talk to people. I just didn't want to do it. But I was doing it anyway. But if it was a job or a career, it just intimidated me. And I read the book. I listened to the audio yesterday, The Cash Flow Quadrant, and going from an employee to being self-employed, because the thing that he was naming, that I can do this, and I have a way that I want to do it. So I love it. It's great. Now to get to the other two parts of the quadrant is the domestic venture, but doing it because I know I can do it, and I want to do it a particular way and offer people me. And working for a company, well, I found out I can't be me per se. And like in the military, I love it. The two best jobs I ever had in my life, the United States military and being self-employed. Two great jobs, best in the world.
Yeah, I know. You know, going back to the business doubts, right? It's the one thing the Marine Corps taught me, and I say this on every podcast because it's a journey. We're all on different journeys, but we got to learn to embrace the suck. Right? And once we get over that, there's really not much to doubt, right? If you are educating yourself, you're hanging around, or you're bringing in people to your circle who are influential, who are pushing you, who are challenging you, want you to do better, you should not have no business doubt that way, right? Is because you're building and you're curating like-minded individuals within your circle, within your scope. And we're going to push each other to drive success, which is everyone that is been on this podcast. We all have that same mindset of we want to make a difference. We want to make an impact at the end of the day, which leads What's been the biggest challenge you're currently facing in your role, and how are you tackling it?
That's an excellent question. I want to grow. I want to get into a position where I'm hiring other agents, other brokers to be a part of my company. And my military ways get in the way because I don't have time for nonsense. If people don't want to work, you don't want to be around them. How am I overcoming that? One day at a time, because I have to get to know people. I have to really think this through. Just to say, just to go out there and this one part is have to do it. It has to be well calculated. I want to grow. I want to have passive income coming in, like Davin in his company. I want to be that guy, but I have a problem trusting people to want to do work. And my mindset says, if you don't want to be here, don't be here. Go away. I'll find somebody else. But that's not good for business. Right?
Yeah,
if you can't work, get out of my office.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Greg, I can tell you a little bit. There are days where it's super rewarding being like a sales team leader, and then there are other days where I'm like, man, sometimes it's just not going the way I expected. So yeah, you gotta build patience. And like the one thing, like, that we joke in like my men's small group is like, don't pray for patience because God will give you a reason to be patient.
So you to wait. Yeah, just wait a minute. Yeah. Like, well, whose minute? Yours or mine?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and you got to remember, right? Like when you're hiring, in for you, Greg, you're trying to grow and surround yourself with like-minded people, right? So, something I've coached a lot of clients through is having that mission, your vision, and what you guys is your unique selling proposition, right? If they understand what you're trying to accomplish and they buy into that, then you'll start to attract those people. So in the coaching world, we always want to make sure that your vision, your mission, and your values are written somewhere. And when you start to interview people or you start to bring people and they see that and they read it, and now you start to curate something special. And they're like, you know what? I believe in this. This is something I want to fight for. And that's when you start attracting those people. I think this year is going to be an amazing year for you. I know you're also into the 23 Alpha cohort Bunker Labs, which I'm really, really excited about. So it's going to be a really, really fun year. And as we come, I know we've got a few minutes left. Is there one question that we didn't ask that you wish we did ask that you want to let the viewers know?
I really can't think of a particular question. Well, there is one. Why did I want to get into doing this profession as opposed to anything else? And the answer to that question is, the insurance industry to me is like a puzzle. I used to love to put puzzles together, 1,000-piece puzzles.
Yeah,
It made me concentrate. And I look at when somebody comes to me, or a family or a business owner, in my mind, this is just a huge puzzle. I just got to figure out how to put the pieces together. And so when I'm through talking with somebody, getting a fact finder done, or listening to what they're wanting, and in my mind, I'm trying to picture out how to put this together to make it, to finish it, and say, here you go. Just as
good stuff. Good stuff.
Because I work as an engineer with Sprint. I got into the law enforcement arena, and then now this is a perfect fit because everybody, like Edgar said earlier, everybody's situation is different. There's no cookie cutter people, and people think it is. They think because their uncle, their aunt, their cousin, their neighbor, their boss, whatever, got something that they want. They think that it's automatically it fits them, and it doesn't. So you got to figure out how to do this just right and explain. And that's why I love my profession, because it's a puzzle, and I love puzzles.
Good deal. All right, guys. So let's take maybe like 20, 30 seconds apiece, kind of go around what we got out of this discussion today, and then I'll go ahead and wrap us out. Greg, you go first.
I always learn from Edgar, and I watch and learn from you as well. It's positioning, it's listening, asking quality questions, reinforcing the fact that you want to meet quality people, and to do the right thing to help people, to make a difference. And hearing you two resonate that knows that I'm in the right place with Spark and the VA, Southern Nevada Veteran Chamber of Commerce and stuff like that. So thank you guys.
Rock on.
Yeah, I'm going to close out with the biggest takeaway that I got from you, Greg, and I learned is our minds are very alike and aligned, right? And I always look at somebody as like a big puzzle piece as well, whether it's my puzzle piece they need or someone within my network, right? And it's not always going to be my puzzle that they need, but I have the right puzzle piece because I have the network. And that's the way I like to position when I'm working with someone or a potential client is, look, you might not need me right now, but down the line, you just might. But let me help you with what you need right now.
Yeah, good one. Good one.
Absolutely. Great.
Yeah, I'll close off. Something I actually learned from both of you. Like, you guys actually have a lot in common. And one of those things is that you both are constant learners, and it reminds me that I don't have to know everything. Like, I can lean on my friends that know things that I don't know, and that my friends are willing to see me as the expert that I am, even though I don't know things, you know, like I figured some things out and I can bring that to the table, and that's okay, you know, so always appreciate being around lifelong learners. It's a really cool thing. All right, I'll close this out. So thank you everybody for being on the podcast. Thank you our viewers for watching, and we'll see you next time.